Hafiza Abdullah leaned back in her chair, rubbing her temples as she glanced at the clock. It was well past midnight, and exhaustion was setting in. The past few weeks had been overwhelming. Endless meetings, client negotiations, and the never-ending demands of running a business. But tonight, something gnawed at the back of her mind. Earlier that evening, she had received a routine email alert about a bank transaction. It wasn't unusual, just the standard notification from Maybank, but something about it felt off. Perhaps it was paranoia from dealing with banking frustrations in the past, but she decided to check her account before calling it a night. With a sigh, she unlocked her phone, navigated to the Maybank app, and logged in. The screen loaded, and for a brief moment, everything seemed normal. Then, her breath caught in her throat. The numbers on the screen didn't make sense. She blinked. The balance stared back at her. 404 million, 0.04 Malaysian ringgit. Her mind struggled to process what she was seeing. She rubbed her eyes, refreshed the app, and even logged out and back in. But the numbers remained the same. Over 400 million ringgit, a figure that didn't belong in her account. Her heart began to race. Had she miscalculated a payment? Had someone mistakenly transferred funds into her account? Or was this some elaborate scam? 100 scenarios rushed through her mind, but one thing was certain. This was no ordinary banking mistake. Her fingers trembled as she tapped through the details. There was no sender information, no transaction history explaining how the amount had landed there. It was as if the money had simply appeared out of thin air. A chill ran down her spine. This wasn't just a glitch. It was something much, much bigger. And whatever it was, she had a feeling it wasn't going to end well. Hafiza's fingers hovered over the screen. Her thoughts raced, bouncing between logic and sheer disbelief. This has to be a mistake. She forced herself to take a deep breath and focus. There was only one thing to do: call the bank. With a shaky hand, she dialed Maybank's customer service. The line rang once, twice. Then an automated voice greeted her, listing options she already knew by heart. She jabbed the number for "Speak to a representative" and waited, her heart hammering in her chest. After several minutes, a woman's voice came through. "This is Maybank customer service. How may I assist you?" Hafiza cleared her throat, trying to sound composed. "Hi, I just checked my account, and there's a significant amount of money that shouldn't be there." A brief pause. "Could you confirm your full name and account number?" Hafiza rattled off the details, gripping her phone as the representative typed on the other end. "Thank you, Ms. Hafiza. Please hold while I check your account." Seconds stretched into minutes. The silence on the other end felt unbearable. Then, "Ms. Hafiza, I see what you're referring to. There appears to be an unusual credit in your account." "No kidding," she muttered, rubbing her temple. "How did it get there?" "I'm unable to provide that information at the moment," the woman said, her voice carefully neutral. "But I strongly advise you not to attempt any transactions until this is resolved." Hafiza's stomach twisted. "What do you mean?" "We're escalating this issue to our fraud and technical teams. In the meantime, I regret to inform you that your account has been temporarily frozen for security reasons." She gripped the armrest of her chair. "You're freezing my account? Because of your mistake?" "I understand your frustration, Ms. Hafiza, but this is a standard security measure. We will update you as soon as we have more information." Her jaw tightened. This wasn't just inconvenient, it was infuriating. Not only had she stumbled upon a massive error, but now she was locked out of her own funds, unable to make transactions for her business or personal needs. She ended the call and threw her phone onto the table. This was ridiculous. Leaning back, she stared at the ceiling, trying to process the absurdity of the situation. She was sitting on a fortune she couldn't touch. And now she was trapped in a financial limbo with no answers, no access, and a problem that wasn't even hers to begin with. But one thing was certain. She wasn't going to sit quietly and let this slide. Hafizah barely slept that night. Every time she closed her eyes, the number haunted her. 404 million ringgit sitting uselessly in her frozen account. She tossed and turned, frustration bubbling beneath her skin. By morning, she was done waiting. If the bank thought she was going to sit quietly while they sorted out their glitch, they had another thing coming. She grabbed her phone and drafted a post for LinkedIn. When does a banking experience stop being funny and start feeling like a nightmare? Woke up to find 404 million ringgit in my Maybank account. Before you ask, no, it's not mine. No, I can't use it. And yes, my account is now frozen because of their mistake. This isn't the first time I've had banking issues, but this is next-level comedy. Except no one's laughing. She hesitated for a second before hitting post. Within minutes, the engagement started pouring in. Likes, comments, shares, people were hooked. Some laughed at the absurdity. Some were outraged. Some asked if she could accidentally send them a few million. And then came the real questions. How could something this big happen in a major bank? By midday, the post had gone viral. News sites began picking up the story. Her inbox flooded with messages from journalists and curious onlookers. And then her phone rang. Maybank. She exhaled sharply before answering. Ms. Hafizah, this is Aaron from Maybank's escalation team. We're aware of your LinkedIn post and wanted to assure you that we're working to resolve the issue as quickly as possible. Oh, you mean the issue where you dumped 400 million ringgit into my account and then locked me out of my own money? That issue? A pause. Yes, that one. Hafizah folded her arms. So, any updates? We've identified the problem as a system glitch. It was an isolated incident, and we are currently working on rectifying your balance. She scoffed. That's great. But in the meantime, I still can't access my actual money. How do you expect me to run my business when you've frozen my account? We understand your frustration, Ms. Hafizah. We assure you this is a top priority. Then unfreeze my account. There was hesitation on the other end. We need a bit more time to ensure everything is in order. We appreciate your patience. Hafizah's patience had run out long ago. Let me be clear, she said. I didn't ask for this. I didn't steal this money. But because of your mistake, I'm the one being punished. You can fix your system all you want, but you need to fix my access first. We'll be in touch soon. And with that, the call ended. Hafizah clenched her jaw. She wasn't sure what frustrated her more, the frozen account, the lack of answers, or the fact that the whole situation was turning into a public spectacle. One thing was clear. This was no longer just a banking mistake. It was a mess, and the world was watching. The next morning, Hafizah woke up to chaos. Her phone was buzzing nonstop, notifications, calls, emails. The LinkedIn post had exploded, not just in Malaysia. International news outlets were picking up the story. Headlines screamed across screens. Malaysian businesswoman wakes up to $86 million banking glitch. Bank error in your favor? Not quite. Maybank freezes account after massive mistake. Comedy of errors? Maybank faces public backlash over banking glitch. Social media was in a frenzy. Memes flooded Twitter. A screenshot of her balance next to the Monopoly bank error in your favor card. GIFs of people dramatically pretending to faint after seeing 404 million ringgit in their account. Users tagging Maybank, demanding answers. Hafizah sighed, running a hand through her hair. This had spiraled far beyond her control. She never meant for this to become a viral spectacle. She just wanted her account back. Her phone rang again. Not Maybank this time, a journalist from the Straits Times. She hesitated, then answered. Ms. Hafidza, good morning. We've been following your story. Do you have a few minutes for an interview? She exhaled. I appreciate the interest, but I'm not looking to drag this out. We understand, but many people are questioning the security of banking systems right now. Your story raises serious concerns. What if this had happened to someone who didn't check their balance? What if this glitch had gone unnoticed? Hafidza paused. They had a point. It wasn't just about her anymore. If a system glitch could dump millions into her account overnight, what else could it do? Could it drain someone's savings? Could it misplace funds? She had only been able to react quickly because she checked her accounts regularly. But what about others? Taking a deep breath, she made a decision. Fine, she said. Let's talk. By the afternoon, Hafidza's interview was everywhere. She didn't attack Maybank outright. She wasn't looking for a fight. But she did highlight the bigger issue. This isn't about one mistake. It's about trust. We rely on banks to safeguard our money. If errors this massive can happen, how do we know our finances are truly secure? I've had issues with this bank before, but this is something else. And if it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. Mistakes happen, but the way they're handled is what defines a company. Maybank needs to do better. The response was immediate. People flooded Maybank's social media pages, demanding transparency. Banking customers across the country began scrutinizing their accounts, looking for anomalies. Some even shared their own horror stories about unexplained transactions and poor customer service. The pressure was mounting. And Maybank? They could no longer afford to stay silent. By the time the sun set, Hafidza knew she had struck a nerve. The weight of public scrutiny was now pressing down on Maybank, and they could no longer afford to ignore it. That evening, her phone buzzed with a direct message from Maybank's official account. Dear Ms. Hafidza, we acknowledge your concerns and sincerely apologize for the inconvenience caused. We are working diligently to resolve the matter and will provide you with an official update soon. She read it twice. It was carefully worded. No real admission of fault, no timeline, just corporate damage control. Minutes later, Maybank posted a public statement. We are aware of the recent incident involving an erroneous deposit and a temporary account freeze. This was an isolated system glitch, and we assure all customers that their accounts remain secure. Our team has taken immediate action to rectify the situation, and we are in direct communication with the affected customer. We regret any inconvenience caused and appreciate your patience as we work towards a swift resolution. Hafidza stared at the screen, unimpressed. A swift resolution? She scoffed. It's been 2 days, and my account is still frozen. The damage control effort only fueled more backlash. The comments section under Maybank's post was on fire. This isn't just about one account. How many other isolated glitches are there that you haven't noticed? If the customer hadn't spoken out, would this even be resolved? Give Hafidza her money back. Maybank, we demand better security and transparency. Maybank's attempt to cool things down was backfiring spectacularly. Then, another call. An unknown number. Hafidza hesitated before answering. Ms. Hafidza, this is Raymond, head of customer relations at Maybank. She leaned forward, gripping her phone. Finally, do you have actual answers for me, or is this just another scripted apology? A pause. Then, I'd like to personally assure you that your account will be reinstated within the next 24 hours. We take full responsibility for the error and are implementing additional security measures to prevent this from happening again. Hafidza raised an eyebrow. So now it's an error? I thought it was just an isolated glitch. Raymond exhaled. We recognize the impact this has had on you. We'd like to formally apologize and, as a goodwill gesture, offer compensation for the inconvenience. That caught her attention. Compensation? Yes. A waiver of banking fees for the next year and an exclusive client support channel for any future issues. Hafizah let out a dry laugh. So you expect me to stay loyal after this mess? We hope to regain your trust, he said carefully. Trust? That was the real issue, wasn't it? After a beat, she replied, I want my account unfrozen immediately. No 24-hour wait. You fix this now. Another pause. Then, I'll see what we can do. I'll be waiting, she said, ending the call. She had made enough noise, and now, for the first time, it felt like the bank was finally listening. But one question still lingered in her mind. If this could happen to her, who else had it happened to? The next morning, Hafizah woke up to an email notification from Maybank. Subject: Your account access has been restored. She exhaled, relief washing over her as she opened the banking app. The 404 million ringgit was gone. And more importantly, her real balance was intact. No deductions, no unexplained charges. She was finally free. Minutes later, another email came in from Raymond, Head of Customer Relations. Subject: Formal apology and resolution statement. Dear Ms. Hafizah, we sincerely regret the inconvenience caused by the recent banking error. Please be assured that we have taken necessary corrective actions, including system audits and additional fail-safes, to ensure such incidents do not happen again. As a token of our commitment to your satisfaction, we have credited a goodwill amount to your account and granted priority customer support access. We value your trust and appreciate your patience. Sincerely, Raymond Maybank Customer Relations. Hafizah raised an eyebrow. She immediately checked her account. A 10,000 Malaysian ringgit credit sat there under the label, Customer Service Adjustment. She smirked. So they really did put a price on their mistake. She wasn't about to complain. She hadn't expected any form of compensation. And while 10,000 ringgit wasn't exactly a life-changing sum, it was a clear sign. They wanted this issue to die down. But the story had already taken on a life of its own. News outlets followed up on her case, analyzing the security risks of banking glitches and how they could impact unsuspecting customers. Industry experts weighed in on the flaws in digital banking systems, and financial watchdogs took notice. And the public? They had already moved on to the next trending controversy. For Hafizah, this wasn't just about one bizarre incident. It was about accountability, trust, transparency. She posted one final update. For those following my Maybank saga, my account is restored and the issue is resolved. But this wasn't just about me, it was about holding institutions accountable. We trust banks to handle our money responsibly. Mistakes happen, but how they're addressed is what matters. To everyone who stood by me, thank you. And to those who blindly trust their banking systems, always check your accounts. The post got thousands of reactions, but Hafizah didn't stick around to watch. She had spent enough energy on this. It was time to move forward. And next time, she'd triple-check her balance before going to bed.